Alright, hey guys, what's up? I wanted to make a video, or start making videos, about just talking about my thoughts and fighting games. This is something I've been thinking about making for a while, and hopefully it can lead into something nice or better. So yeah, I guess we'll find out when we try. Thinking about fighting games is something I really like to do, and I really wanted to share what I find and what I think about when it comes to playing fighting games, improving in fighting games, and just how to go about enjoying fighting games. Well, from my point of view. Of course, everyone is different, but yeah. Anyways, let's enjoy the video. So, when it comes to fighting games, there's a lot of aspects that can make someone good. The great thing about this is that all players don't need to be good at one single thing. But when it comes to getting stronger in fighting games, or getting better in general, you kind of want to find those aspects that you're not really good at or lacking and work on those. It's a lot easier to improve that way rather than focusing what you're good at and neglecting things that you're not good at. So in this video, I want to break down and talk about what I think are the 4 main aspects of fighting games and how you can improve in each category. Also, if you guys enjoy this content, feel free to drop by my Twitch, where we talk about stuff like this all the time. In a time where we all can't go out, I think it's nice to have a place where we can hang out and chat with like-minded people. Anyways, the link's in the description, come check it out. Alright, let's get to this. Now, the things I'm going to talk about are going to revolve or touch on the concept of mind games. So what I mean by mind games is like situations where you're doing something, like you and your opponent are doing something and you're not 100% sure what they're going to do. Think of it like just rock, paper, scissors. Like, it's a very bad example, but like just bear with me on this one, alright? So what I mean with rock, paper, scissors is that every option beats a certain option but then loses to another option. So you kind of have this triangle or like a square going on, like, yeah. Now then you're thinking, well, doesn't that mean fighting games are just simply luck-based RNG? Well, not really. I mean, think about poker, man. Do you think high-level poker players win because they're just really lucky? Or do they use the mind games or use the RNG to their advantage? Like, do they use things that are outside of the game to their advantage? This is what fighting games is also about too. And I'm going to talk about that as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is knowledge. So knowledge is its own aspect of fighting games. Having knowledge is very important. Not having or lacking in knowledge in fighting games is like trying to play a game where you didn't even read all of the rules or the options that you can do. And then when you play against an opponent who read the rules better than you, or actually read the rules, so they're going to do options that you didn't even think were options, and you're going to be like, what? Well, there's a lot to learn about fighting games when it comes to character moves, frame data, the game system, all these kind of things all add up to knowledge. Now, the more you know about the game, the more confident you are able to play, or the more you understand what's happening in a game. So when you lose or when you win, if your knowledge is good enough, you're able to understand completely what happened to make you lose or win those matches. And then if you lose, you know exactly what you need to improve. So when it comes to improving this aspect of play, there's a lot of ways you can go about it. You could go to the lab, test out everything. You could also watch matches, ask questions, find answers to that, and there you go. You've learned something new. And then, of course, you can also find other people's guides, or there's a lot of information on the internet, so definitely that is a way of improving in fighting games. What this means is that even though you're not actively playing the game, you can improve in fighting games by improving your knowledge. Now, fighting games, there's a lot to learn, so take your time, especially when you're starting out. The important thing is to be aware that this is a thing that you need to be constantly working on. Just a little bit per day is really good. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is reactions. So what does reactions do for you in fighting games? In terms of the RPS, the rock, paper, scissors system, having better reactions means that sometimes you can actually avoid guessing. So an easy example is when someone's going to do a high-low mix-up on you, but the overhead is reactable. Now, if you're starting out, you might just guess that it's going to be a high-low, but if your reactions if you don't work on your reactions, then sometimes all you can do is guess. Then you're able to defend yourself in 100% situations where you can block the overhead or even react to throws as well. Stuff like that. You're not just guessing anymore. And therefore you're cutting out a totally risky situation where you have to make a guess. Now, reactions are also involved in things like hit confirming. So hit confirming allows you to maximize your damage from stray hits or just hits in general. What this means is that your opponent is going to be more afraid of getting hit by you, because if they get hit by, like, say, a crouching medium kick and you can hit confirm that into a combo, then that means that any single hit that lands on your opponent will do huge damage, and therefore you can end the game faster. And then we've also got stuff like anti-airing, whiff punishing, stuff all like that. Now, if you want to practice these kind of things, the easiest way to practice is to actually recreate the scenario in the lab and trying to practice reacting to it. So if you want to react to jump-ins, just set the opponent to randomly jump. If you want to react to dash-ins, then yeah, have the opponent set to dashing. And if you want to practice hit confirming, then you want to set the opponent to randomly block, and you want to be able to practice just seeing if you get the hit and then converting to combo, and if they block it, don't. The reason why this is effective is because when the brain does something, like they want you to press a certain button, it sends a signal to your fingers and you press the button, right? However, you also, when it comes to reacting to something and then pressing the button, that's kind of two steps that's happening right now. You're looking for a certain cue, and then your brain processes it and then sends the signal to do the required action. The thing about brains is that if you repeat a certain situation, your brain can actually improve the signal because of something called myelin. So that's a little bit of a complicated thing. I will talk about that maybe in a future video. But anyways, the important thing is when your brain actually does the thing that it wants to do, or that you want it to do, it gets better and better each time. Think of it like muscle training or muscle memory. Yeah, that's where muscle memory comes from, actually. Yeah. So yeah, you want to practice doing the actual action. Also, another important thing is to keep yourself healthy, because, reactions are a physical, human-based thing. You want to be healthy, or you want to keep yourself at a good, healthy state. Like, eat healthy and exercise to keep your brain in shape. So, a healthy body means that you are more likely to be more consistent in reacting to things. The third thing I want to talk about actually, involves dealing with the whole making reads, mind games kind of thing, and that is just that. Making reads. So like mind games are actually, when it comes to mind games and making reads, like making reads is the actual, like when you're actually dealing with the mind games, right? The RPS. So like people have tendencies and they can't be 100% random. And there are things that you can do to influence. That's why we have things called conditioning, right? There's a lot of that happening in fighting games, and that's a lot of fun. It's fun. While this is perhaps one of the more harder things to get right in fighting games, because it's impossible to be perfect at making reads every single time. However, it is possible to be more consistent at making reads, especially when it comes to fighting opponents who don't actually think about this kind of thing, and they're just going to do whatever they want. So when you're starting out, it's going to be a lot harder, because mind games only happen when both players know exactly what options are available at the situation. It just takes some time. So this is something that you don't have to work on at the start, but it is something to be aware of while you are, training and learning the game. So a good way to start practicing is to start practicing remembering what your opponent does. So, for example, the best way I think is maybe when they get knocked down. When your opponent gets knocked down and they get up, what do they do? What is the first thing that they do? Do they press buttons? Or do they block? Or are they gonna jump backstep? Are they gonna DP? Stuff like that. So try to remember what they did. The reason why is they're going to be likely to do it again. So it kind of helps build into your reading skills. And of course, when you're watching matches, when someone gets knocked down, you can try and guess what they're going to do. It's good practice to do. So this is a good way to learn about tendencies, right? Once you start learning scenarios and options, you can finally start putting this into your gameplay. It's important to remember that fighting games is about communication, right? You're sending your opponent information about yourself by doing certain options, and you are taking what they're doing as well. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about is execution. So execution is pretty important, I think you all know. But sometimes it's important to think about where does execution fit in the big picture of things? When I think about execution is, say you're gonna do a really big combo that's really difficult, right? You land the hit on your opponent because you guessed right on a situation, like, because in every fighting game there's always the neutral game, there's always like Oki or whatever, and there has to be like a choice that needs to be made that allows you to do damage on your opponent because you guessed right. Once you get that and you can execute your best combo, say you do a combo that does 1/3 of your opponent's life bar. Now, if you do the same thing 2 times, you win the round. Whereas, say if your execution was a little bit, bad, or you can only do like a simple combo because the execution required is a lot easier. Let's say it does maybe 1/5 of the opponent's life bar. That means to win the round, you have to make 4 more right guesses, or you need to win 4 more exchanges with the opponent. If you're able to execute the best combo, the best setup you can, it means that you can win in less situations than you need to. And that's very big in fighting games. Because when it comes to mind games and RNG, RPS, there's always a chance that your opponent can make a comeback because you just made the wrong guess, and you want to avoid that as much as you can. Well, easy combos are nice to have because, it can get the knockdown, it can lead to more damage or a better situation than if you drop the combo, but there will be times where, you could have just won the round if you just did the better combo, the harder combo. When you're starting out, with playing fighting games, you're probably more focused on being able to do a quarter circle forward motion rather than crazy, high damaging maximum combos that the pros do, right? So take your time, but as you move on from just learning the basics, it's important not to settle for just easy combos. You wanna keep doing something that's harder than what you currently do. So let's say you learn your easy BMB. Okay, cool. Now what's the next step? There's always a next step. Is there a harder combo? Then if it's hard, yeah, spend some time every day practicing it. You can stick to your easy BNB for now, but yeah, there's always just something you really should be practicing. Like, don't just say like, it's too hard, I'm never gonna get it. You will get it, you just have to work on it just a little bit every day. Break it down. There's always ways you can make it doable. So yeah, I can tell you from experience that once you are able to do the hard combo or the hard execution technique, you're going to remember why you decided to pick up fighting games. Well, hopefully with this video you can become more efficient with improving in fighting games. For example, one day you can focus on one aspect like knowledge or execution, and other days you can work on other things, right? If you have any questions, feel free to drop by my Twitch where I like to talk about stuff like this. Link is in the description. Alright, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Get safe. I am God now. I can react into. Oh, you thought. Yeah, that's right.